All right, everyone, welcome back to another Complexity Casting presentation. I'm your casting host, Beef, bringing you more awesome HoN Tour action. Today we do have the Gold Losers Finals. These are the top 3 teams left. They're going to be going on to face C1K in the Winners Bracket Grand Finals, whatever you want to call it. That's going to be going on tomorrow over on HoNcast, I believe, is going to be covering that one. But right now, we've got these two teams. We've got coLcast going up against Do You Even Lift, C1K going up against Duel, and it should be fantastic. Winner of this going to go for the grand finals, guaranteed at least $700 and fighting for that $1,000 first place prize. Loser is going to be going home with $600 and third place in gold. Both of these teams have already advanced into the Diamond Division. Now, interesting to note, because you will see them in the top 16 of the next season. Of course, Pencils as well as Vitriolic Gaming have dropped down into gold, and then Experience Gaming and Fit are both no longer going to be playing in HoN Tour. So they will be a little bit of change up after this weekend. Of course, going into this weekend, we do have finals for bronze, silver, gold, and diamond, and it's going to be an exciting one at that. I'm looking forward to providing all kinds of coverage this weekend, so make sure to check that out. But before we get to that, we've got a game right here, right now. Going off with the blind bans, we do have Bubbles and Meraxes being banned out by the Legion, Tundra and Keeper of the Forest being banned by the Hellborn. So Duel, I believe that they were banning Keeper of the Forest every game yesterday when we did see them going up against C1K. C1K, of course, FYKU did take that series 2-1. Looked pretty dang strong. Duel did have a dominating game with a Dark Lady, though in their first game, about 700 GPM hard carry there. So we'll see if that might make a return. Bubbles and Meraxes both being blind banned here. Excuse me for 1 second. All right, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. I did not clear my throat very well before starting, and well, I had a sandwich a little while ago, and I guess there was a little bit of delicious ham stuck in my throat. Getting back into that's disgusting, actually. I don't know why I told you guys that. As I said right before we went live, I'm a little bit silly right now. I'm giddy. I am looking forward to HoN Tour this weekend. But Bubbles and Meraxes being blind banned, a little bit odd, perhaps. 2 heroes that you might see banned, but never really blind banned. They're not quite on that tier. There's others that can fulfill those roles just as well. Getting into the lock phase, though, Jellyfish starts it out with Plague Rider. Back over to Frozen Goat for Duel. He goes with Tempest and Ophelia. Jellyfish finishes his last 2 with Pebbles, Wretched Hag, and then back to Duel for the final lock. It's going to be Magnus. So if we take a look at that, a couple of junglers in the form of Tempest and Ophelia making their win there. Both of them, of course, do have that strong push potential and good ganking potential as well. Plague Rider as well as Wretched Hag, some suicides, and you got your Strength Initiators, your mid-type heroes in the middle lane with Pebbles as well as Magnus. So a standard lock looks pretty nice, and I'd be happy to see any of those heroes in the games. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Banning phase, we do have Dark Lady being banned by coLcast, letting Duel know, no. Booking, you're not getting your hands on that one again. We watched that game. We know what you're capable of, so screw that. He's gone. Parasite, Wild Soul, Draconis are going to be banned next. So a hard carry, a suicide, and an aggressive ganking jungler are all going to be banned out. Jeremiah and Fade, last but not least, being banned by Jellyfish and Frozen Goat, respectively. All right. Pretty standard bans there. Nothing really too out of the ordinary. A strong carry, strong junglers, strong suicides. You got Jeremiah, the support king. And, of course, Fade is getting work done as well, as somebody's mowing their lawn like 5 houses down. I don't have my windows open or anything, but I can hear it through my headset, so I know that you guys can hear it. I'm going to have to go yell at them. Turn their lawnmower off. Damn it, don't they know I'm doing casting right now? Come on. Come on. But, all right, let's get into the picks. First pick actually coming out is Silhouette for the Legion side. Jellyfish picks up that ranged agility carry. And a strong one she is, consistently able to get great farm on that hero, and she can even make herself useful in those mid-game team fights. So not a bad one to have first picked, especially when you've banned a few of the other hard carries. Draconis, of course, off the board, as well as Dark Lady. Going into the second picks here, we do have Glacius Torturer coming out of Duel. So possibly a mid-lane duo. Who knows? Glacius, a great support and torturer, of course, with a nice stun and a ton of damage coming out of him. Well, taking it into the late game, he can be everything that you need in terms of a carry, but Duel actually says no, as they pick up with their third pick, Forsaken Archer, one of the 3 ranged agi carry trifecta: Silhouette, Forsaken Archer, and Draconis. With Draconis being banned, Duel chooses to go with FA. Now, FA is on a little bit lower of a tier in most people's eyes than Silhouette and Draconis. Not able to farm necessarily as hard, and certainly doesn't have an escape mechanism like Draconis has in that Blazing Flight, or Silhouette has in terms of her Shadow or Tree Grapple. So maybe that's why she's not picked up as much. She actually does farm quite well, though, and able to put a lot of damage out with those piercing arrows and her pin ability in those mid-game team fights. Support cast coming out for Colin Karma. Dead Fruit. I was actually informed prior to this game that I've been calling him Dreadfruit, which I think is a better name, but that's irrelevant because his name is Dead Fruit. So I'm going to try my best to call him by his proper name, as he would like to be called. And Carlsberg's will be getting that Nymphora. So Nymphora Engineer coming out with the double support over here for Colin Karma. And we've seen that a couple of times by, I believe, Duel yesterday was going with the double support. It was either Duel or FYKU, but I'm not sure. Double support not going with junglers, maybe making its way back just a little bit, but interesting as I'm looking at Call It Karma's lineup, and I'm not really sure what they're going to do. All right, that's the standard right there for the regular picks. First lock pick comes out from Call It Karma. It's going to be Tempest. So, of course, that strong jungler gets the farm done in there. Now, it's unfortunate he will be taking up that jungle that could be snacked otherwise for Silhouette, so she's going to take away from a little bit of the farm in that respect. But, of course, a strong hero indeed. The lock picks for the Hellborn side. Duel picks up Ophelia Plague Rider, so going with a suicide hero as well as an aggressive jungler of their own. And I like that quite a bit. It's interesting to note that their final lineup here is 4 ints and an agi carry. No strength. It's pretty rare that we see no strength heroes these days, as of course the strength initiators in the middle lane are very, very popular. Let's go ahead and get this overlay changed on up. And there we go. I tell you what, guys, I like casting these Gold League matches. I really do. Like, I'm having a lot of fun casting all these, but I need logos from these teams. Like, if we go back here, like, it says C1K. That's not pretty. Like, having a TTE's logo like that, or having a Lions logo, like, that's pretty. Dang it, these teams need logos so I can make the stream look pretty. That's what I'm all about. But what are you going to do, right? The final pick for the Call It Karma team is, in fact, going to be Pebbles. So that's going to be their strength hero. The initiator in that middle lane could very well be teamed up with either Nymphora or Engineer. Only time will tell. And I know that Alme was lagging a little bit prior to this. So he is playing the Silhouette, of course. We'll see if this pause has a little bit of something to do with that. Let's go ahead and give him a question mark. Let him know what's going on and hopefully expedite this just a bit. But here we are. The teams are settled. Call It Karma running the Jellyfish on Engineer. Dead Fruit is going to be on the Pebbles. Carlsberg on the support Nymphora. We have Alme on the Silhouette. And Banana for the win. He's going to be on the Tempest. So strong lanes. It looks like they're going to be running the Nymphora and Pebbles possibly in that. It's really, really odd, to be honest. They're either going to run 2 dual lanes and a Suicide Tempest, which I don't think they're going to do, or they're going to have to run a solo Engineer. And that's kind of odd. Now, I know... I wish I remembered a little bit more about Call It Karma, which players were playing which roles, but going to be very, very interesting to see what their lanes are. Over here for Duel, though, that's a little bit easier. They have Frozen Goat playing the Torture. Bip is on Plague Rider. Kayao is on Glacius. Casualist playing the Ophelia. And Booking going to be hard carrying with that Forsaken Archer. So there you go. Guys, that's a very strong lineup for sure. And Bip most likely going to be playing that Suicide role. They will send that Glacius as well as the Torture into the middle lane. And then Forsaken Archer going to be soloing short, while Ophelia hangs out in the jungle. Should be pretty nice. Now, if Call It Karma does send the Pebbles Nymphora combination up to the top lane and sends Engineer into the mid, the Forsaken Archer might have a little bit of a rough time up there, and they might actually have to do a little bit of a lane swap. They, being the Hellborn team, might have to lane swap the Glacius and Torture up there, while Forsaken Archer might go to the mid. But we'll see how those lane swaps do come out here. More shout-outs going on here as the admins. Shout-out to Mr. Old Shadow and Chuck64, as well as, who else is there? There's Inkland, and I believe Roland are the HoN Tour admins, and of course the head boss man himself, S2 Milkfat. Huge shout-out to Sam. But great job that they do, really making sure that these games run smoothly every day. They have to be available for these games in case there's something that needs their decision, as we kind of had yesterday with Duel versus FYKU, and they needed a ringer to come in, but didn't end up that way. They actually were able to fill out their normal 5. Guys, we're going to get on into it. We'll be able to see where these lanes do go. The Silhouette going to be soloing short, of course. That much is absolutely decided. And with 4 players going up right now into the jungle, Alme is, excuse me, who's on Banana for the win, does have items for the, well, those items can either be for the jungle or for a long lane solo. Not entirely sure. Engineer, it's hard to tell from these items. It's very hard to tell. Now, Pebbles has picked up an Iron Buckler, so that would indicate that he thinks he's going to be going up against a ranged hero. But when you have 5 ranged heroes, that's a pretty safe bet that you're going to be up against the range. Wing Courier up here, gonna kind of perch on top of some trees and get a little bit of scouting information done. But we'll see. There might be a little bit of an engagement here. Pebbles is leading the charge. He's out in front. Will they be able to make something happen? They're trying to put auto attacks into the Courier. The Courier's shield's going to expire in about 3 seconds here, and with the ward going up, they might be able to get a kill onto that bird. Will they be able to? 2 more auto attacks, and that bird may very well die. They already sent their own bird back home, though. If they had actually kept that out of there, they might have been able to kill that Courier. And to be honest, killing a winged Courier before the game starts, that might even be a bigger deal than Bloodlust. It's 300 gold for the person that gets it, as opposed to the 400 or so that Bloodlust might get you. But not being able to fly out any items until someone not only buys a new Courier, they have to go to town to do that, and then upgrades the Courier. That's an additional 400 gold taken away from the enemy team. That can be a big deal, not being able to get the bottle here in the middle lane for the solo Torturer, actually. So it is going to be solo Tort against solo Engineer in the middle lane. And it's going to be long lane Pebbles Nymphora against short lane Glacius Forsaken Archer. That's something interesting. But yeah, not being able to get that bottle would have been a huge inconvenience for sure. It's essentially giving up a little bit of rune control in the initial phases of the game. But now, this lane up top, Glacius Forsaken Archer versus Pebbles Nymphora, I would certainly give the advantage to the Glacius Forsaken Archer. Now, they could be comboed down pretty effectively by the Pebbles Nymphora if they get out of position, but 2 600 range heroes, they really shouldn't be out of position. Middle lane, Engineer against Torture. Now, this is one that I think it could really go to either player. Torture is certainly the hero that farms a little bit better, though. So if he's able to get the farm here, it's going to serve his team better by him winning this lane, rather than the Engineer. If the Engineer gets a bunch of farm, well, he's still going to be just dropping kegs and dropping turrets and dropping energy fields in the middle of these team fights. Maybe he'll be able to get something like a portal key or a nice early push staff, but we will see. Engineer right now is doing he's doing okay. 3 and 1 as opposed to the 3 and 2 Torture, but and only 2 creep waves in, it's pretty hard to call that one which one will do better. But I'd say I'd have to give the advantage to Frozen Goat there in the middle lane. He's got a little bit better of a stun, as well as some more damage. Actually, Stalagmite's coming out here onto Forsaken Archer, as well as the Zeal stun. The Chuck's going to come out as well, but a nice glacial, or excuse me, Ice Imprisonment will keep Pebbles from landing that last auto attack, which would have spelled doom here for booking. So not bad. The bottom lane, one we haven't talked about just yet, is there's been a lot of action in the top lane and an interesting matchup in the middle. Silhouette is going to be going up against Plague Rider. Now, this is one that Plague Rider should have a relatively rough time in, but Plague does pretty well against most solo-type heroes down here, but Silhouette has much higher attack damage and should be able to get all these last hits while putting in a little bit of harassment. But of course, Plague Rider will be able to do a little bit of lane control with that Extinguish spell, and even get some harass with the contagion that's afforded to him by the mana from the Extinguish. But Silhouette, I mean, you already see her hitting 57 to 62. Plague Rider hitting for 52 to 61. So it's actually not that much of a disparity at this point. But Silhouette will have a little bit better scaling once the game goes a little later on. And of course that Relentless Salvo, as she ducks in for a kill with the Death Lotus. But the Relentless Salvo will enable her to get quite a bit of harass going. And once she picks up that Ring of the Teacher, actually Stalagmite's going to be coming in here as well as the Zeal Stun. Will he use the chuck backward? No, he's actually going to chuck her up in the air. And down goes Booking. There we go. First blood comes out for Dreadfruit. Now that's another one of those things of kind of out of position maybe. Forsaken Archer was never able to get that pin off. And he was stunned down the entire time. So a little bit unfortunate that he did get hit by those Stalagmites. I would have expected him to be a little bit further off, but Pebbles does have decent range with the Stalagmites, so not bad, and a great job there from coLcast to secure that first blood. Pebbles is going to continue to get his CS on while Forsaken Archer is actually out of the lane. She has moved to the middle. I was kind of wondering where the heck she went, but yeah, it looks like they are going to, in fact, rotate that Forsaken Archer that I was talking about a little bit, sending the Glacius Torture up top instead. That's what I would expect them to do, Glacius Torture with the double stun rather than the Immobilize that is the pin. I think that they'll have a much better time laning up there together against that double stun combination from the Legion team. And so that's what Duel is going to be doing. It's almost like they're listening, except there's a 6-minute delay. So they also probably know the game a little bit better than I, and they were able to make that correction without needing the advice from Coach Beef over here. Bottom lane Silhouette keeps on doing her thing. She's saving up for a life tube right now, which is something that's very nice to have against a on a Silhouette. Allows you to take a little bit more auto attack harassment. Hasted Torture is coming in, and they're going to be looking for something to happen. Walked by a couple of wards there in trying to get toward that Legion team. So Legion will be able to stay safe in that top lane. Pebbles and M4 are going to be making their way over here, and they might be setting up something. Oh, a nice Stalagmites as well as the Zeal Stun, the Chuck, and down goes Ophelia. Might even be able to get the kill on the Minotaur. But no, it looks like the Hasted Torture will be coming over, though. And Nymphora now in some trouble. If the Minotaur drops the stun, yeah, nice kill. Not even needing the Minotaur stun. But Nymphora, she kind of stutter-stepped a little ways there as Carlsberg gets caught out of position. Could have gotten out of there, I think. But took a little bit too long. And so does take the fall. 2-1 is now the hero score in favor of coLcast. Not looking too bad with their 1,500 gold lead and 1,800 experience lead. Here at only 6 minutes into the game, and that's not an that is a substantial lead. I don't know why I'm trying to use double negatives, but it's a nice lead here for coLcast. They're looking pretty good. Here on the gold per minute chart, we do see Pebbles is topping the charts at 300 gold per minute. Of course, with a couple of kills, he does have both last hits on those kills. Of course, that's a big reason. 19 and 7 creep score as well, so not looking too bad in that respect. In the middle lane, Forsaken Archer is struggling at 198 gold per minute. Well, looks like Engineer is relatively low as well, only 16 and 5 in terms of creep scores. Invisible Tempest with that Mana Ring all finished up will drop the Glacial Blast. The keg comes in as well as the turret, and down goes Forsaken Archer. She's going to be dropping for the second time now, and Booking not having a good start in this game. The Hellborn team doing a little bit of aggression now onto the Pebbles as they want to use that offensive tri-lane up there to actually get some kills, but they haven't been able to, other than that one out of position Nymphora just yet. Chuck coming in onto the Torture, doing a little bit of harassment with that spell, knowing that Nymphora should be able to replenish his mana with the level 2 Grace of the Nymph. Tempest and Engineer diving once again, trying to make something happen there in the middle lane. Jellyfish back up to 200 gold per minute now on that engineer, choosing to go for a bottle, as is pretty standard there in the middle lane. Torture might get caught out of position. No, Plague Rider's actually going to come in as the Plague starts bouncing around, and M4 will die into the second bounce. So a good rotation there from Bip, making his way up all the way from the bottom lane. Now that, of course, does leave Silhouette to just kind of free farm her little heart out. She is level 7 now with a substantial amount of gold already on her hero, finishing up the steam boots instead of going for that life tube like I thought a little while ago. Now she's at 875 gold, so she can pick that one up if she so decides to. Engineer in some trouble in the middle lane. One more auto attack and down he goes. Ophelia looks like she came around from the backside as well as Booking landing the pin there. And the Jellyfish takes the fall. 4 players team up. Is this 5? That is 5 players, actually, from the Hellborn team. Now grouping up here in the middle lane, saying, hey, we're a little bit behind in terms of gold. We'd like to get some boots for our people, and well, everybody actually does have boots already. We'd like to get some bracers for our people. I don't know. But the middle tower will be taking a lot of damage from that level 2 impalement on Torture, as well as everything else that's coming out. Actually, a lot of TPs coming in. That is 3-4 TPs now, so a good chunk of people, and they will be able to get the deny on this middle tower. Even going to grab the Skeleton King and the Catman Champion for their troubles. And one more hit. There's the deny banana for the win. Brings that one home for their team. They actually grabbed the Catman Champion, not the Skeleton King. And so Ophelia grabs a second to make a pair. Maybe look for initiation. In the bottom lane, while all that was going on, last hit did go to Tempest on this tower as he teamed up with Silhouette to actually knock that one down. Escalating Tempest's farm up to all the way 320. Not bad, not bad. Followed very closely by Pebbles and Silhouette at just 300. So, not too far behind. And of course, that will be very, very useful to pick up some of their essential items, getting toward that Nullstone, Whispering Helm, whatever Silhouette does choose to go for at the beginning. And of course, the portal key that's so important on Pebbles at this early game stage. Already finishes up his steam boots. He needs those levels, though, as well. He's been roaming around with his team quite a bit, and you typically want to get to that level 11 as well as the portal key as soon as possible on Pebbles. So he needs to get those. But he is just kind of hanging out with his team. A little bit of pub training going on from both teams, to be honest. But Pebbles needs a little bit of time to farm by himself. He needs his alone time. Oh, Silhouette's going to go in for a kill here on Glacius. One more auto attack will do it, but Silhouette actually stopped to get the taunt up on Glacius, and I feel like he could have gotten that last auto attack, but he stopped to get the taunt up, so that's a little bit unfortunate. In these competitive games, I mean, a TMM or something is one thing, but in these competitive games, you gotta say, what the hell is the point of the taunt? Maybe it's a little bit of demoralization for the enemy team, but you need to get the kill. The 200 gold that you would have gotten, the experience, and making sure that that Glacius was set further back is way more important than any kind of humiliation associated with getting taunted. Pebbles continues to try to get farm here in the middle lane, but Frozen Goat doing a great job at actually holding off the push for the time being. Now, interesting to note that Frozen Goat was actually playing a lot of support yesterday for this Duel team. I recall him playing Engineer, I believe twice in games 1 and 3. I believe he was playing Engineer. But now he's going to be playing Torture, so a hero that requires on a little bit more farm, and we'll see what kind of ricing skills Frozen Goat does have. Bip makes his way up toward the top lane to try to get the farm that he did lose out on. Of course, going up against that Silhouette, had a relatively rough time down there. It looks like did I just drop my internet connection? I can't tell. But it could be bugged out. It looks like it was just bugged out. It was telling me that I'm dropping my internet connection, but now it won't tell me. No, we're good. Exwit's just being dumb. Sorry about that, guys. My internet has been acting up quite a bit recently, so I'm trying to make sure that it's not going out and so that I don't have to fix something. Pebbles gets the last hit there on the tower in the middle lane, and with that he does pick up his portal key. Now only level 7 though, so he's not going to have the strongest of combos. Not until you get to level 9, and then once again at level 11 does it get significantly stronger. So, top lane, 2 towers dropping there, Duel pushing them in with the Ophelia as well as the entire gang. Level 3 impalement, no, level 2 impalement still on Torture, but able to put out quite a bit of damage onto those towers. Pebbles wanted to get the kill on that middle tower, grab his portal key, and then be able to possibly stop it, but wasn't quite able to get there in time. So they do lose 2 towers. In addition to the one in the middle, that's 3 towers now for the Duel team. Able to put themselves within 1,000 gold of their opponents, but they still find themselves down. So a lot of that coming from creep kills rather than tower kills, as 1 tower is down in the middle and 1 tower down in the bottom. Oh, and Amphora Carlsberg is going to be in some trouble. Actually, the portal key is going to come out. They're still going to get the kill onto the Forsaken Archer. No, the Ophelia heal is going to come out and turns it around with the piercing arrows. They are going to miss, and Amphora is going to be able to get away for the time being. Plague Rider with the Steam Boots is trying to chase down Nymph, who does only have red boots. But no, the Thunder Blast is all that it takes, as Kaio hits level 6 there with that kill. And a nice job from Duel intercepting that Nimtora teleport in. But, man, oh man, gotta be careful with that Nymphora teleport. You never want to be teleporting into just a random area with no vision, especially out in the open like that. She was teleporting in right here. Right here. And there was players in this area and players in this area that ended up seeing her. And so she was in a little bit of trouble. Engineer also in some trouble here in the middle lane, as he does take some fire. But he's able to back on up from Ophelia without dying. FA certainly having a little bit of a rough time in this game. She has died twice, but she's gotten a couple of counter kills. And right there, got a tag onto both players for the assist, so able to improve her farm just a little bit. But 275 GPM on the FA, not actually too bad. Only 75 behind the Silhouette, who's had a much easier time not really being ganked at all in this game. Silhouette getting to work on this Plague Rider. Will Tempest be able to connect with the Glacial Blast? He stopcast that one, so not quite going for it. Torture is in the vicinity now, though, if they want to turn this around for a counter kill. Ophelia working on some ancient creeps with her dominated minions. Torture is doing much better now, so up to 325 GPM, second highest in the game. Frozen Goat with 1,800 gold saved up. It'll be interesting to see what item he's going to be going for first, whether that might be something like a portal key to grant the additional mobility and initiation provided by that item. Of course, Hellborn team does not have really any initiation. If they get a portal key and a sheepstick onto Tort, that might be one thing. Actually, Port going to be coming in here as in comes the Pebbles onto the other player. The Plague bouncing around and immediately just disintegrates Nymphora, and maybe Pebbles might be in some trouble once again. One more last hit, or one more auto attack might have done it, but no. The Silhouette and the Tempest are in position. The Meteor, as well as the auto attacks from Alma. A nice tree grapple there, and down goes Torture. So another nip fort that kind of went wrong. Carlsberg is trying to get those so that they can get those aggressive ganks going, but continually porting into locations where not the best. He did die very, very quickly to the return damage from that Plague Rider. Silhouette is very close to finishing up her Nullstone now. 790 gold, only about 200 gold off of finishing that one up. And that'll be nice to have against quite a few things. Actually, a portal key going to be coming in there. But Tempest whiffs that one as he ports onto the low ground instead of being able to get the stun off. Yeah, so back to this Torture. He's going to need something like a sheepstick and a portal key to have any kind of initiation here for the Hellborn team. We kind of talk about that every once in a while with teams with a Torture that have no other strong initiator. And in addition to those two items, you really want something like a Shrunken Head as well so that you can actually stay alive in those team fights where you're going to be getting hit by stuns and tons of magic damage. Plague Ooze bouncing around, and Glacial Downpour coming down, Tundra Blasts, and Piercing Shards, and all that kind of nonsense. So it's going to require a ton of farm to come out of Frozen Goat for him to be a truly effective initiator. And until then, the Hellborn team really doesn't have anything by way of initiation. Plague Rider picks up a Shaman's Headdress now, so we'll be working on that Berry Idol at some point, which should be a very nice item to have against the ton of magic damage coming out from the other team. The Meteor from Tempest, as well as the Glacial Blast, the combination from Pebbles, the Energy Field, the Keg, the Turret from Engineer, as well as all the damage from Nymphora from the Zeal, as well as the Volatile Pod. Berry Idol will help against quite a bit of that in those team fights, so I like that decision from Plague Rider. Normally you would see something like an Astrolabe coming out of that hero, but this time the Astrolabe is in fact picked up by Ophelia, which is also another great hero to have. Ancient stack being cleaned up here very, very easily by the Hellborn team. Booking brings home most of those, and with that, he actually propels himself up to 350 GPM, closing in on that Silhouette. And of course, with the split shot ability of that Forsaken Archer, which he will start leveling up here, 1 point in it already, Forsaken Archer becomes a very effective farmer of stacks and jungles. The Whispering Helm that she has, of course, able to dominate a creep. Maybe leave that to get a little bit of stacking going on. Illusions all over the place here for the Legion team as they tried to grab that Engineer, but he is just an illusion, guys. No need to get your panties all up in a bunch. Torture shows off his brand new tablet of command. That's going to be very nice to have against somebody like the Engineer. Well, like a lot of these people, actually. Of course, the tablet of command used to break up that Tempest ultimate, and really useful against Nymphora, Pebbles, and Engineer in terms of getting away from their stuns. Initiation could come in. Actually, a big ultimate right there for Kant in that one. Will they be able to capitalize, though? The Engineer drops the energy field. A nice Keg hitting all three. Torture back into the energy field, and the Zeal stun going to come out onto Plague Rider. Now the Plague Goo is out and bouncing around, but Plague Rider will actually be sent to town by Ophelia, so nice job with that one. And in the end, only able to secure 2 kills there. Alme grabs one, and Deadfruit grabs the other on Pebbles, but they do defend that bottom tower. Yeah, take home a couple of kills, so not bad. They almost got that Plague Rider. He was so close to going down, but not quite able to. Engineer picks up Portal Key after that last engagement as well. And wow! Plague Rider, what? Yeah, he's expressing the same sentiments as me right now because I have no clue what his hero was doing over there. I honestly feel like he clicked on the ground trying to get away from them down here, thought he died when he went back to town with the Ophelia port, and his hero was making his way back down the lane. Because he thought he was dead. Like, that's literally the only explanation I can fathom for that, of why he would be so pushed up in the lane. He thought he was dead. But interesting. Duel fallen further behind now as Call Karma extends their lead up to 7,000 gold and experience, of course, with the portal keys on 3 heroes now. Looking very good. Wouldn't be surprised to see Silhouette pick one up as well, as their team could turn extremely mobile. 4 portal keys and the Nymphora teleport would be very nice to have. Tempest making his way toward a shrunken head, perhaps. He's sitting at 1,600 gold now, as Pebbles picks up a Soul's Bulwark. So going to be able to increase the damage output from himself as well as everybody else's auto attacks. Nymphora TP going to be coming in as they do spot out the Forsaken Archer. Pebbles will be porting in the combo. There's the Stalagmites, the Chuck, and the Zeal stun is going to miss, but the auto attacks might be enough. Will Forsaken Archer stop to use the pin? No, Ophelia's gift does come out, and it looks like she will be able to survive. It's a little unfortunate that Pebbles didn't wait for Nymphora to get unstuck, and now they have to get out of there. The portal key already used from Pebbles, but Nymphora is in some trouble. The chain reaction comes down. She's going to turn it around with a nice 3-man Zeal stun, but the impalement will line it up right there and knocks him down. Torture takes on the kill. Frozen Goat now 3, 2, and 3. Engineer continues to try to get his job done, and like I said, with this Engineer, having a farmed Engineer in the middle lane as opposed to the farmed Torture probably not as big of an impact as the Torture going into the later stages of the game, but this Engineer has done well for himself. 1, 1, and 2, 244 GPM. He's making sure not to die. He's helping out with a little bit of supporting. And of course, he's got the items that he needs. Team Boots, a Grave Locket, as well as the Portal Key now. So he should be able to contribute toward the initiation or counter initiation of his team quite nicely. Silhouette picks up her next big item, and it's going to be a Dancing Blade. So picks up the 25 agility afforded to her by that item, and could very well be making her way toward a wing bow, or might have just picked that up for the additional damage that it's going to give her, as well as armor and attack speed. If she does go for that wing bow right away, that would be kind of interesting to me, seeing as there's a ton of magic damage coming out from the opposing team, and I think she might have been better served by Shrunken Head if she were going to be going for an item that was predominantly defensive. I mean, the wing bow, of course, does give you a lot of attack damage and attack speed, but it also costs a ton of money because it gives you that evasion, which is really only going to be useful against that Forsaken Archer in man fights. But we'll see. If she does go for that wing bow, that would be one thing. If she goes for a Genjuro, which of course is the other option, with that Dancing Blade, now that would be very interesting as well. I don't know that I've seen a Silhouette with a Genjuro in a very, very long time. But the cloaking ability, as well as the movement speed, the attack slow, the slow on attack, as well as the critical damage multiplier on that item, would be very, very nice for Silhouette to have and make her into an incredibly effective ganker. Torture makes his way down as Engineer wants to initiate. There's going to be a port coming in, catching one player inside of that Elemental Void, but grabs another with a stun. The Stalagmite's going to come out onto Torture, and with the Nimp TP, they might be able to finish this one off. FA is going to come in, but she's quickly going to have to get out of there. Does snipe the Courier, so that's one nice thing. It picks up the haste, so she's going to jet on out of there without any hope of the Legion team being able to run her down. I don't think that there was anything on that Courier. It looked like it was flying away. I think it might have just delivered the Mighty Blade here to Tempest. But that's a little bit unfortunate, of course, to lose that Courier. 400 gold that you have to invest back into that, and somebody's got to go to town. And for somebody like the Nymphora, who will probably be her duty to actually buy another one of those and get it upgraded, well, it's 400 gold that she really can't afford to spend, so maybe a little bit mad at her team for losing that one. Maybe Tempest will buy that one as well. Tempest, speaking of him, does have enough money to actually buy his Shrunken Head, 3,000 gold on top of the Mighty Blade, so we'll see if he does pick that one up. Once the Shrunken Head is acquired, of course, the only thing on the opposing teams that's going to be able to break that up is going to be the ultimate from Plague Rider. Pebbles is going in. He wants to make something happen here in the middle lane. The ultimate from Plague Rider, as well as the pin down from the Skeleton King that might be dominated by either Forsaken Archer or Ophelia. That one will, of course, go through Shrunken Head as well. Bottom tower will go down with certainty the second time. Not going to be caught by a 4-man Elemental Void. And with that, they're going to be making their way. A lot of ports going off to literally everywhere. Couple going mid, couple going home. As the Hellborn team pushes back, the Legion says, Pebbles, no, it's not for you. This is our tower. Pebbles wants to go and get something done, though, and he hasn't really gotten a kill in a little while. He's at 5, 1, and 2, 353 gold per minute, though, and looking very strong. Deadfruit living up to his namesake and making the enemy team into some dead vegetables. 445 GPM, currently the top farmer in the game. Silhouette is looking strong. She picks up the Snake Bracelet now, so only 800 gold off of finishing up that Dancing Blade, or excuse me, that Wing Bow, which is going to be what she's going for. So chooses to go with that one. And of course, the heavy amount of agility, the attack damage, as well as the evasion and the attack speed afforded to her by that item make it very, very strong for an agility hero to have. It actually does increase their attack per second and all their DPS from their physical damage by quite a bit. But we'll see. We'll see how effective that item is, and if Silhouette can stand in the back of those fights and just pound damage in, then of course it will be a very effective item to have. I just hope that she doesn't get locked down by various heroes in the middle of these team fights, getting stunned and ice imprisonment and pinned and Plague ulted, all that kind of nonsense. But if she can avoid all that, she's going to put out a ton of damage, of course. The Hellborn team looking like they want to make something happen here at Concord. One Tempest Elemental is going to be sent in, and it'll check to make sure that nothing is going on. Wingbow is now going to be completed here on Silhouette. Not bad. Nullstone Wingbow Steam Boots at 27 minutes into the game. Not bad at all. 464 GPM is what the Silhouette is standing at. Oh, a kill in the bottom lane is Plague Rider. Despite his very tanky presence with those Steam Boots and the Barrier Idol, well, excuse me, the Shaman's Headdress plus Refreshing Ornament, he will drop there. Dead Fruit as well as Banana for the win. The Fruit Brothers here for Call It Karma bring that one home with what I assume was just Glacial Blast, Meteor down, and the Pebbles combo. So they're going to be able to bring that kill home. Plague Rider down for 20 more seconds. Now it looks like with Grace of the Nymph here, Pebbles will be ready to go once again and possibly make something happen in the middle lane as Silhouette uses that Wingbow to start pounding damage into the tower. The Chuck goes out, and last hit for Dead Fruit with that big Pebbles Fist. Pebbles Fist? Who the heck is Pebbles? Legion team now using this opportunity, knowing that the Hellborn, they're kind of back, they're wary of where they're at, and they don't exactly know. They're going to use this to clear out their opponent's jungle and possibly make their way into this top lane and start up a secondary push that would drop the last outer tower remaining for the Hellborn team. So it leads the charge using the Death Lotus, and Pebbles looks like he's actually, who picked up the Mana Ring? Oh, Tempest. So he's had that one for quite a while. I thought somebody else picked one up. Looked like it had emanated from Pebbles, who's actually very close to finishing up his Demonic Breastplate, if that is what he's going to go for. We'll see if there's any initiation here, as I think there might be. The Ophelia minions leading the charge, and they're trying to get something done, but the Legion team actually is going to fall back for now. Knowing that they do have a very strong lead, they don't want to initiate into any kind of a situation that is not nearly guaranteed to be in their favor, which that team fight they could have overextended and had some bad position there. So backing up, not a bad idea at all. Silhouette using her Shadow to try to go and get her farm even faster. I can just see her being like George of the Jungle, whipping through the trees, or Tarzan, or whatever you want to call him, and just flying all over the place, trying to get to this farm even faster. Wants to make sure to kill everything as fast as possible and break that 500 gold per minute mark. On the other side, Forsaken Archer looking pretty strong as well. She is at 420 gold per minute. Finished up the Whispering Helmet. She's had quite some time using that as a farming tool to help her get level 16 and finish up that Geometer's Bane that she does have now. So that'll be very nice for dealing with some of the stuff, the Glacial Blast from Tempest, and as well as just kind of splitting up damage from the auto attacks and putting out additional attack damage in those team fights. Other than that, I mean, you can't really disjoint us. Well, you can disjoint stuns, but you can't cleanse the stuns like you might be able to cleanse something like the Glacial Blast. There's no Glacius that makes it super effective. Pebbles picks up a Shrunken Head now to complement the other two items, choosing to go that route instead of the Demonic Breastplate. And with the Mighty Blade now picked up on Silhouette as well, she's going to be going for that Shrunken Head as well. Now the Legion team has, of course, as I'm sure they did realize before, know that Shrunken Head's very important. And with 3 of them going to be on the team relatively soon here, going to be a lot of magic damage mitigated by the Legion team. Engineer finishes up his push staff, so going to be nice to gain that additional mobility in those team fights, perhaps get into slightly better positioning and drop that energy field where it counts the most. On the other side of things, Plague is still trying to finish up that Berry Idol. He will find the farm that he needs down here in the bottom lane, but if he does not get there in time, the Hellborn team's going to be sacrificing that top tower, and I think that as Forsaken Archer actually makes her way down the middle lane, they're going to start a little bit of a counter push, knowing that there's nothing that they can do to stop that top tower. Plague needs to be a little bit careful, though, just because if Nymphora, who is level 10, so not quite level 11, doesn't have that ability. Ooh, stop cancel animation on that Shadow is actually really cool. I've never seen that before. Plague TP's home with that Barrier Idol now, and it's kind of interesting to see such a barren inventory of Steam Boots, Barrier Idol, and Pretender's Crown. No TPs, no wards, no Mystic Vestments, nothing along those lines. Just 2 items and a Pretender's Crown. Yeah. I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, Nymphora is not level 11 yet. Once she hits level 11, of course, she will be able to teleport herself as well as 2 others rather than just 1 as it is right now. And then that Nymphora ultimate gets exponentially better. From there, being able to set up much more effective ganks. And once she hits level 16, then you're in some trouble as she can take 4/5 of her entire team out on the road with her. Bring some groupies because she's hitting the tour. Nymphora still trying to get a little bit of counter warding done as Engineer actually picked up an eye. He's going to make his way back out. Had to take the trip home to actually pick that one up. But with that eye, they'll be able to get a little bit of counter warding done as they already spot 1 ward, and down it goes. Pebbles is invis, so if he's feeling ballsy, he can actually make his way up the lane and perhaps try to get a pick off. There's 1 Rev ward up here that's going to expire, and another one just in this area, trying to make sure that if they dropped a ward right here, going for a Rax push, that one would be countered. More ward of sights all over the place. So Duel making sure to try to maximize their map vision so that they might not get caught unawares. Visibility with 10 seconds left now by Pebbles. So looks like he's not going to actually get anything done with it. 5 seconds. Will he make a desperate run for the enemy base and chuck someone out of it? No. He's going to actually just let that one wear off. His Legion team just starts to posture around Kongor. Silhouette starts pounding auto attacks in, and she does a fair amount of damage, but they simply don't have anybody to really tank it without the Nymphora there to spam heals. Nymphora's Volatile Pod is actually only level 1, so you can always kind of tell what Nymphora is doing based on how she levels. With only level 1 Volatile Pod, she's not so much building for pushing as much as she is for just continued ganking, and with full level. Actually, Pebbles is going to go in there, combos down Glacius, activates the Shrunken Head. The energy field not going to catch anybody, but a Keg is going to be able to pull them in. Oh, a 3-man Tempest ultimate. The last 3 are in there, and they're in some trouble. Oh, down they all go. A Genocide coming out, a buyback already onto Torturer, though. But GG well played's come out, and that's it. That's it. All the posturing, all the farming, and 1 team fight right then, right there. A good pickup onto Glacius, another one onto the Plague Rider, and then a 3-man Tempest ultimate, and down goes Duel. Call it Karma puts themselves up 1-0 now in this series, and they looked strong throughout that game. Prior to that fight, they had about a 10,000 gold lead and a 12,000 experience lead, if I recall correctly. And they just consistently out-farmed, out-positioned, and out-ganked the enemy team, able to get the essential items down, and they had strong laning position, carried it on through into the mid-game, and won the last defining team fight right there. So, nice job. Guys, we're going to go to a very quick break as we get game number 2 set up. Here's the stats if you want to take a look at those. But thank you very much for joining me, guys. This is Complexity Casting. I'm your casting host, Beef. While we are on the break, make sure to check out the info section that's still a work in progress below here on twitch.tv/ComplexityHoN. And make sure to check out all the social media links there for Complexity Gaming. Let them know that you enjoy watching Complexity Casting, providing HoN Tour coverage as well as scrims coverage when we can. Let them know over at ComplexityGaming.com, Facebook at Complexity Gaming, and Twitter at Complexity Live. You can click on all those links just above the Complexity Gaming logo over there, and that'll take you directly toward that. And while you're down there, you can check out me over at Twitter at BeefPotPie1. As you see on your screen, there's also a little Twitter icon next to my name down there. So make sure to check that out and follow me on Twitter so that you can get all the up-to-date information regarding Complexity HoN and when we're going to be going live here on the channel. Let's go ahead and adjust this title as Call It Karma is now up 1-0. Guys, one more thing. A lot of you ask me about VODs all the time. VODs, of course, are disabled for the Twitch stream because they are uploaded to YouTube within 24 hours of each one of the casts. Down in that info section, there's a couple of pictures that look like a Complexity banner. One of them says Scrim VODs and one of them says Tourney VODs. You click on either of those and that'll take you directly toward those videos for all the recorded games. I've got about 20 series on the Tourney VOD ones over at youtube.com/BeefPotPie1 over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. They're all, of course, organized very nicely by game and in a replay playlist for you. So check that one out, guys. We're going to go get this next game set up. It's Complexity HoN. Don't go anywhere.